Greetings, everyone. It is your girl, Adina. Yes, with the Goddess Technology Podcast. This is the third season and the fourth edition. We have an amazing guest with us today. Her name is Goddess Jessi. So, in a minute, I'm going to bring her to the stage. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. I want to invite you all to embark upon a sacred journey. The Goddess Technology Retreat Bali has a few spaces available, so join us from August 2nd through August 9th, 2025 for an unforgettable experience designed exclusively for the divine feminine. Nestled in the lush, tranquil landscape of Bali, this retreat is your sanctuary, a place to draw within and nourish your soul's deepest yearnings. Live Awaken your inner goddess with transformative connections and sacred rituals that celebrate your unique essence. Rest and surrender to the soothing embrace of Bali's serene beauty, where every moment invites you to rest and renew. Rejuvenate, engage in holistic practices that revitalize you, mind, booty, and spirit, leaving you refreshed and empowered. Embrace your journey of self discovery and transformation, emerging as the radiant, empowered being that you are. Join a circle of like minded women on this sacred path where ancient wisdom meets modern technology to elevate your divine feminine energy. Reserve your space today and step into a world where you can truly live, rest, rejuvenate, and become your own goddess. The Goddess Technology Retreat Bali is where your journey to wholeness can begin and expand. For more information, see our website, which is lowercase b it.ly/ let's talk about Bali. bit.ly/ let's talk about Bali. Thank you for that. All righty. No further ado, I am bringing Goddess Jessi to the stage. Yay, Goddess
Hey,
Jessi.
what's up?
All the way from Texas. I'm in
H-Town.
Maryland. Texas in the house.
Yep, yay.
Welcome, my love.
Hey,
How
what's
are
up?
you today?
I'm fabulous. I'm feeling real vibrant, active. So good.
Awesome. I'd love to start right out of the gate just talking about you. Goddess Jessi comes from the Sweet Love Sanctuary, okay? This sister right here knows she's a goddess. She's a high priestess. She is a transformative agent of love. She has a business called the Sweet Love Sanctuary. I've had the pleasure to sit with her for readings, and I knew that I wanted to sit with her here and share her with my community and let you know that this is another resource. We're not bound by space or time. We can get Goddess Jessi on the phone and get this transformation happening in ourselves right now, right today. So, Goddess Jessi, share your journey of transformation and how you rebirthed yourself into being Goddess Jessi. Like, are you from Texas originally? Like, where did little Jessi grow up? And tell me about the significant points of your metamorphosis.
Oh, I say, well, first of all, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I receive it. Like, I appreciate those words. I think that's medicine that we need, receiving our flowers now. So thank you so much for that acknowledgement and just like mirror essence of what we're both doing in this space. But that is a beautiful question. And I think probably one of the most important. It's like, what is our hero's journey? Like, what is our story? Little Jessi was born in Philly, but I'm from Houston, family from Houston. I was only born there, but I was
Okay.
raised. Everything is very H-Town,
Okay.
Texas and,
Go
Southern,
big or go home.
go big or go home. Yes. And, my journey through metamorphosis, I would say probably was the most significant thing was getting divorced.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So in 2016, I was at a point where I had like a business and I was married and I was doing a lot of things at a high level. And one day my ex-husband decided to put his hands on me.
Oh, okay.
And that journey of um, you know, divorce and self-discovery after that, I think was the big like aha that changed, my trajectory of my life. Like I was successful, but I wasn't living in my purpose. I wasn't living like my dream. I could run a business and all that stuff. I had a CrossFit gym at the time, which was great, but that was his dream. That was not my dream. That was his contract, not mine, with the
Mm-hmm.
divine. And so through that, they say there's two reasons why you change: pain or gain. And in my circumstance, I mean, I guess it was a mixture of both, but that pain triggered a journey of like going on a fast for 30 days and starting to dive into divination. And then I took a journey through herbs and roots. And I took a class at a voodoo house here in Houston called Absalom's House of Voodoo. And there I started understanding the spiritual and holistic properties of herbs, and then the magical properties of herbs, which usually go hand in hand. And that journey through, learning and sitting, with the master teacher, and that teaching being rooted in African spirituality and the systems of like the laws of nature and all those things, it resonated with me on a high level. And my now godfather introduced me into, spirits. He said, I noticed you're not working with, anything. And that journey of understanding what African spirituality really meant, and that whole concept and world of connecting to the divine in an ancestral way was open. And then at the same time, I was training as a tantric practitioner with Goddess Amina, with which is now the Amina Institute. So if you look
Mm-hmm.
it now, but then it was Atlanta Tantra Institute for Divine Sexuality. And so between those two paths of my spiritual journey with African spirituality, and then my spiritual journey through my pussy, through goddess, through
Yes.
the world of tantra and conscious erotic touch and those things with Amina, I would say that's where Goddess Jessi was born, inside of those, times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a beautiful journey of um figuring out what that really looks like, understanding like what my purpose was, because on the other side of that was where, I heard God's voice for the first time, and let me know, where I was at and what I was doing and what my purpose was. And I think that what we go through, it unlocks that emotional receptor that allows that voice to be heard loud and clear, because you start to really go on your journey and realize, am I living like the American dream or the world dream, or am I living my dream? And,
Mm-hmm.
it's us as melanated women, we're going to be successful in all areas. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's not always about things being bad or being, in a low place. It's about, are you in the right space, in your purpose, in your actual alignment and destiny for your journey, and the people you're doing it with, y'all are in parallel versus you walking someone else's path and trying to find happiness inside of that. So I would say those were the monumental moments that got me to here. I overgeneralize as such a, a depth story.
You put a
That,
lot in that. I
yeah,
want to
but
give a shout out to your pussy because you just
yes,
called her out like, listen, hello, hey.
yes, yes, that is the goddess. When
What
we say
else?
goddess, we're talking about pussy. We're talking about
Yes.
the core essence and
Mm-hmm.
center of where our power and our shade comes from. And really the medicine of it, and it, all of it's ashe. So
It's all I say. And demystifying and unstigmatizing the word, the
mhm,
place. Like when people still say down there, it's like, what? Like embracing it with no shame. I
exactly.
love her. I love her. Yes, and
Mhm.
we are her. So that is so beautiful.
Thank you, thank
And
you,
thank you for sharing that.
for sure.
Now, what inspired you to create the Sweet Love Sanctuary? I mean, how do you define a love sanctuary? That's the question. How do you define it?
Well, a sanctuary is a place where refugees go. And we are a love sanctuary, so we're a place for love refugees. So usually if people come here in one way or another, you're trying to trust and believe in love again. And that is
Mm-hmm.
like from Ocean's, words and essence to application. And so that takes me to how the Sweet Love Sanctuary came to be. So my journey with the Orisha Ifa practice started, well, whenever I like made this official step inside of it. I had divination done by my high priestess, and the first thing that she said inside of the divination was that I was going to have a place where women gathered, that I was going
Mm.
to be a high priestess or a chief, and she used like the technical names Ianifa and all that stuff, and that I was going to have a lot of godchildren. And
Wow.
I had just started in the practice, so I understood the concept in general, but I was not very in depth into all of the um cultural lifestyle of it. And so I'm like, okay, great. That sounds good. Maybe when I'm like in my 50s or
Mm-hmm.
something. And then as you move forward inside of the elevations, your destiny is starts to get refined. You start to really
Mm-hmm.
understand like who you are and how you should move that's in your highest interest, and then what direction you're going. And they reiterated some of those same things inside of the divinations that happened in the other ceremonies.
How
And
old were you at this time?
I was this was 20 um 17 2018. So
Mm-hmm.
I was in my late 20s, like
Okay,
28.
that's dope.
28, I think, yeah, probably 27, 28. So
Mm-hmm.
um they said, oh yeah, so they said you're supposed to be a priestess. I'm like, yeah, they told me. And they're like, oh, okay, well, did they tell you you needed to do it within a year?
Oh wow.
And I was like,
So let's get to getting.
so when you go into the Orisha practice, because I'm a priestess of Oshun, that that is a particular energy that um holds a lot of stake inside of like the work that both of us do. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you go into that process, it's a lot to get grounded in, especially so soon inside of someone's journey. But at the same time, I had a home that I was building that was under contract, but I had some like delays in it. And in the reading, they told me that you're gonna have some delays, but it's gonna come through. And I was gonna like Airbnb. I was gonna do these things inside of my home and travel, and things kept getting delayed. But after I had that reading talking about, what I was supposed to do, I decided to, set up my altar space and to start, focusing more in my like spiritual offerings and stuff like that. And the contract opened up like that. The house was done and sold. And then, the Sweet Love Sanctuary came to be. Inside Elevations, you do get a new name. And
Mm.
the name that I got originally was Imole Inian Adun Ife Balewa. And it
Mm.
basically means she whose divine light blesses and heals with sweet love. So
Mm.
even giving my spaces, a spirit. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's where the Sweet Love Sanctuary came from, because that was a name that was divine that I was supposed to have when I joined, the Orisha practice. So, then that was 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And, you know, COVID happened
Yes.
right after that. And I like to say that the church was closed, but the sanctuary was open. And
Mm-hmm.
um a journey through mushrooms, actually, a mushroom
Mm-hmm.
ceremony, led to, some folks being very interested in learning deeper about this practice, and like always feeling the connection to their ancestors or feeling something else inside. Like they may have went to church, but they knew it was something more. And so once they saw what I was doing, they asked to learn. And I said, sure, like I'll learn, I'll teach. And
Mm-hmm.
that process started with 10 people April like 1st in like 2020.
Wow.
And then from there we have just been growing. We just started a new cohort of I think about 25 women in
Mm-hmm.
February, the beginning of this month. And, we have multiple developmental programs that we take people through connecting with their ancestors, healing old wounds, tapping into who their goddess is and tapping into who their spirit team is, their orishas, things like that, to get them like ready and prepared. So that if they are going to go into African spirituality in a formal sense, if they're going to become a priest, if they're going to become a practitioner, if they're going to initiate into certain things that they feel called to, you're going to be fully like grounded in who you are. You're going to have your, core focus and your mind in the right place because you've done the healing work. And you're also going to be knowledgeable about what this is because it's been taken away from us for
Right.
generations. We're just now, as African American people, being able to like get this knowledge and to get this like in a more open sense where it's been very closed off to African Americans is mainly, like a Latin base that you see in
You
America.
see it in Cuba, yeah.
You see Cubans,
Hmm.
and
Brazil.
or you see people
Brazil
that
is
may come
African.
from the Caribbean, but they're very
Right.
touch and go with it. Shango Baptist and other things like that. But this is an African based
Hmm.
practice. This is from Yoruba land, West Africa.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everywhere there were slaves, this practice blossomed into, like this behind me,
What it
just
is.
into whatever it was going to be. And it shows as like a very close connection or
Hmm.
very far, depending on where we landed in those slave trades, where our oppressors allowed us to keep certain things or we were like wiped away from it completely. And so now that we are in a place where we have elders, we have, the knowledge and it's opened up for African Americans, it's still a little bit of a different experience than what it would
Hmm.
be at other, maybe common elays because we are such a mixture of the world
For
through the
everything.
process. So we have to honor our spirituality because here at the sanctuary, there's a school and there's a church.
Hmm.
School is the Sweet Love Sanctuary, and the church is Aduni Faith Sanctuary of Ancestral Spirituality.
Mm.
Ancestral spirituality is Orisha, Ifa,
Hmm.
Voodoo, Hoodoo, Buddhism, indigenous practices. Um, I mean, all of the pagan, gypsy, you know, all
Hmm.
of these things, because we are made up of so many things in our ancestry when we really think about us that are the children that have made it in North America.
Hmm. The
Right.
survivors.
So it's a different experience, and we provide that flavor here for you to be able to really like figure out where you come from, who you are, and then where you want to
Where you
go.
want to go.
Mhm.
Yes, that's amazing. I hear you. You said a lot, and that's a beautiful journey. And being born in Philly and raised in H Town,
Mhm.
how did you have comfort in embracing traditional African religion? I know a lot. My father is Liberian, and so I grew up with a positive view of Africans, but I knew a lot of my friends didn't because when they would call me, how kids will tease, you black, you African, and that wasn't a put down to me. I'm like, I am a black African, and so are you. And that, but they wanted to fight. I'm like, why don't people know that they're African? Much less the African religions. We were taught to be afraid of voodoo and all those things, and
Right.
scary movies and things like that. How did you get through that to embrace it so fully? And because that's our power, we understand why they tried to make us afraid of that, so we wouldn't be in our full power. How did you get through that to your power?
Right. So I know I have a little bit of a unique story because
Mhm.
my parents were not the like Bible thumpers or anything at all. I did go to church with like my grandmother and got that little touch, but it was visiting. It wasn't like I was indoctrinated. And so
Okay.
I think that my parents, my dad always said you don't need a middleman between you and God. So he gave me that mindset to even think about that as a concept. And
Mm.
my mom, she was she didn't really like say yes, no, inside of the religious sense, but if I wanted to get like a little palm reading book from the grocery store, remember back in the day they used to have those little books and
Right at the checkout, those
right at the
little.
checkout, all that stuff. She would buy me all those different things, and you know,
Okay.
I, it wasn't like, oh, I'm a palm reader now, but it just was some. It was
You were
just knowledge.
curious. Yeah,
Yeah,
you were drawn to it. Okay.
and so they were like not very worried. There wasn't this like loom of witchcraft and all this stuff in my home. And then also, when I did start voodoo and I really started to move forward with it, I talked to my dad about it, and we used to watch Charm together all the time. And
Okay.
he was like, "Oh, you a witch? So you a good witch, right? Okay, cool." So that I understand is like 1% of what people usually experience. I did experience it more in like my greater family versus my immediate family, so it was very easy for me to like fall into whatever I felt was good for me, because that's just how my family always has been. We've been very much like do what feels good, not what looks good.
Ashe.
You
I
know,
commend your parents for that. I commend your
thank you,
parents
thank you, thank you.
for letting you follow your life. Because oftentimes, and us as parents, as we think about that, as we are guiding our children who are baby gods and goddesses themselves back home to themselves, we don't have to
Right.
put them in our own box. Let them find their way with guidance. And so they did
Mhm.
that. And now you're the gift to us. So that's so dope. In your experience, what would you say are practical steps individuals can take to cultivate an environment of emotional and spiritual well-being? Like, how can people start doing this in a practical way to, you might not be ready to jump over the edge like me and,
Right.
and you, but where can they start? If they know that where they are is not quite right, I want to do something different.
I would say the best thing you could do for yourself is to get grounded in nature. Like go back to as much light.
Yeah, I'm here. My
Yeah.
camera's doing something weird.
Okay.
I'm going to plug in another one. Just keep talking.
Okay. So I would say the foundational things are to just get grounded in the elements. You know, life is, energy. And I think sometimes we are living so fast, we are disconnected from like the vibrations that recalibrate us naturally. So many of us stay inside and are not going outside, not being where the trees and the grass and the wind and the heat and the cool and the sun and the moon and all of the things that are alive, around us. So like go sit in that energy, go feel in that. And that is really a good way to get in tune just within yourself before we start talking about other aspects, ancestors and orishas and things like that. Like we got to get into a different place of wellness within ourselves. And I would say like going to get grounded, going to take care of yourself. I mean, I hate to say like just exercising and things like that, but go dance, go get with the drum, go get with all of these natural elements that we um have available to us, and you won't need a whole bunch of extra stuff.
Ashe. I love being my own techie sometimes. We have already envisioned the day when we have a tech person to help us with this thing.
Yes, where they just
They just do it
you
all.
got it, they will, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. I heard you say be in nature, move your body. These are things you can do wherever you are. A lot of times folks are behind these screens or on their phones and things like that. But what we tell folks in God is technology is reminding you that you're the technology. All this stuff is
Exactly.
mimicking us. So put that fake stuff down and get with nature and supercharge yourself.
Mhm.
That's what I keep
Mhm.
saying.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah. I have another one to add too. If you feel like you are like a goddess, you hear that goddess thing and it's like, oh, I suggest you go on a masturbation devotional for at least 21 days.
hey, devotional masturbation, y'all.
Yes. So your pussy is the altar and your orgasms or your climax is your prayers. And I learned that, from Goddess Amina inside of just politicking and policing and profiting off of that, and just transmute that into your religion, into your practice, and it will change your life. And you probably are, yes, a goddess, and you probably are a sex goddess in some way. And how that manifests is, I think, what you do and what I do to help you figure out what that really means for you, because every woman, every goddess is different.
Yes. So with this 21-day devotional masturbation diet, we're going to call it a live it, because die is
Yes, live it, live it.
a live it.
I love it.
Yes, and this Goddess 21-day live it. Do you recommend they just utilize their hands, or are they utilizing tools or things like that? Like, it's them, their hands, and some olive oil. Like, how do you recommend they do this?
So I recommend it's like a fingerprint, I recommend that you get explorative. I recommend you slow down and really figure out the range of your pleasure, and not just level 9 and level 10, but level 1 through, it'll go past 10 when you really break it down and start to make love to yourself, and whatever that looks like. Because it depends on how your pussy is shaped. It depends on, your pussy spirit animal. I like to get into that. There's a book
I love that.
The Sexual Practices of the Kwadoshka. It's a book. I might have it right here, but it has a list of like maybe 10 different vaginal styles. And they're not all of them, but it's a good comment, and to have women say, oh, my pussy looks the most like this, and for them to get an explanation that your pussy is the deer woman, or the fox, or the buffalo, and it all works around the medicine wheel as well. So you get to understand your elements and why you are a hot goddess, or why you may be a cool goddess, or grounded in the earth.
Share that book, and I'll put it in the details of this podcast, so everybody can get the book. And you don't have to share it right now, but I'm just saying. Yeah, you'll share the name
for sure.
For sure. So, what is your pussy animal? What animal?
So I have two. My pussy transforms. So when she's calm and just like doing her thing, she is the deer woman.
Okay.
But whenever she's aroused, she's the fox.
Nice.
Yes. So
nice.
I got two on the outside, and unlimited knows who knows how many on the inside.
that part. And so this is the kind of homework that I love. This is really the only kind of homework is you work. And you work can be pleasurable and powerful and transformative. So everyone can do this. Everyone can start literally tonight or today.
Yes, right. Yeah, don't wait. Don't delay your happiness,
Don't. Please don't. Okay, so how can the concepts of the love sanctuary extend beyond our homes? Because we're talking about raising the vibration in our homes, but let's look at our communities and fostering a collective sense of healing and connection. Because yes, the homes link up and they're all a part of community.
Right.
So chat about that.
So what I see is just like really reprogramming what church looks like when we get together and we commune and we do certain therapies, that's church. There's a thing called the Korean bath spa. So the Koreans have a ritual to cleanse and purify and fortify and purge in community.
Yes.
And I think that things like that's why I have an event called Pussy Church. So I am taking it on tour this year. So we'll be in Dallas in April, and then LA, Houston, and Atlanta.
But y'all not coming to DC?
I mean, we can talk about it. But hey, it just got to be warm, because the thing is, Pussy Church is like collective sunbathing. and we go on, a plant medicine journey. We do ritual, and we allow each other to minister to each other, allow each other's
We can
spirits.
do Pussy Church here. I have a
Mhm.
whole, with our Belly Dancers of Color Collective, we got a whole
Let's
village.
do it. Let's do it. We'll bring the goddesses up there and just,
Yay.
to me, that changes. When
Mhm.
church, you go sit in the pew, the one guy talks, you sing and dance, you go, you leave, right? Well, you
Mhm.
don't really dance. You sing and you do a little
Mhm.
two step, but
Mhm.
it's another story. But
Another
um,
story.
in Pussy Church, everyone has the potential to be the priest, the
Mhm.
prophet, the seer, the medium. It really cultivates,
Mhm.
feminine. We say Pussy Church. It is from the
Mhm.
feminine aspect of everyone coming together. And that is the sermon. That is the message from, spirit, where it comes from everyone, if they so
Mhm.
choose. So
Mhm.
it's a great experience. It's beautiful. We do spiritual baths. So I would say
We're
that
here
is,
for that. We are
yes.
here. We're
So
adding
just
decency
doing
to live.
different
We'll talk
things
about
like that, together.
that.
We're
Mhm.
doing it in our silos, but we're
Mhm.
only getting so far. So yes, collectively coming together and
Right.
clearing your energy, collectively coming together to remove blockages, collectively coming together to um, remove fears. Like it's kind of, to me, transforming what people have been going to therapy for, going into these silos of people to try to like let out there, whatever, so they
Mhm.
could be a better something. And
Yeah.
that's, different than being in community and to be able to really live inside of whatever it is, whatever state you're feeling that you're at, so you
Right.
can really transform and change. So I would say that is that. And we could do the same thing with food,
I
like starting
say.
to grow different things and then sharing that and eating real shit together. So it's just
Mhm.
getting as real as we can and doing
Yes.
it collectively, not just doing it on your own.
Ashe, because community does supercharge it. You mentioned plant medicine journeys a few
Mhm.
times. Talk about the mushrooms and some other aspects that help you open up your pineal gland and deepen
Right.
into other levels of consciousness. I also commune with, different plant medicines as well. So I understand the power that's inherently in that.
Mhm.
How do you recommend someone who may be feeling afraid to let go? Because there's no filter in these
Right.
in these journeys. It is like you get to see who you really are, and sometimes that can be, I don't want to say disheartening, but a surprise. You think you know
Yeah.
yourself, but there's so
Right.
much about ourselves we don't know. What would you say
Right.
about
So I deal with this a lot, doing the goddess bath retreats, and that being like the main component of that, healing journey. I tell people that, I know you're afraid of like what may come out, but what I have seen more than not, I would say about 75% of the time, that what's inside people is laughter.
that? That's beautiful.
It
Mm-hmm.
is not necessarily what you think. We think the worst of ourselves, of what's
Mm-hmm.
really inside. Maybe what's on top is the stuff that's scaring you, that's dark or whatever. Maybe what's inside is what's real. And
Mm-hmm.
real is something beautiful,
Ashe.
and the medicine is going to show you that, and it's going to change your perspective, and you'll look at the world differently on the other side. And my thing is, even if you are trying to fight it, if you take the medicine, it's just like when I say, when you get high, don't fight the high, just let it.
Mhm. Let it take you. Let it
It'll
drink.
hurt more if you fight it, because it is going to win regardless. You're going to learn and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see.
You're gonna
And
get this lesson.
you don't get the lesson. And the thing is, regardless, is beautiful. Even in the deepest of journeys that I have experienced, you are fine and you are great and you're wonderful on the other side of it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. One of my teachers really helped me understand that fear is actually the opposite of love, not
Right.
hate, it's fear. And so if we're in fear, we're actually on the polar end of love. And as you're talking about sweet love and coming into that, it does require us to let go of the fear and take some steps toward what our heart is calling toward. So things that
Mm-hmm,
are in
mm-hmm.
alignment, we're calling folks to alignment. But if this resonates for you, you know if it resonates.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the main, we have commandments here at the sanctuary that we live by, and every goddess has their own commandments as well. And one of them is fear is not a disqualification of participation, because
I say.
we can go back and forth with you trying to release fear all day, while there are tons of cases where we see people doing it scared, and or like that. I don't know if you ever seen that Instagram video with the little baby. He's screaming like he's gonna drown, and then he stands up and he's in an ankle feet deep water.
Yeah.
So
Or the
it's
baby with the foot on his head, and he's like,
right.
ah, what are you doing it to me? And it's his hand in the boot.
Exactly. And so, there's a lot, like I said, this journey is deep. You have so many revelations and all that stuff, but you just don't realize how much of an illusion it is, that there's many limits and blocks there. And I'm not going to push you to release your fear. I'm going to, push you to live in your highest.
I say. I say. How do you utilize meditation to influence the energy of spaces and the energy of whatever's going on? Do you utilize that in your practice?
So yes, but I utilize it probably in the opposite of like the most common way that you see it. Like how I talked about the masturbation, devotional. Those are moments of meditation. I have a lot of active meditation. We do that meditation when we are in dance, or when we're in ceremony, and there's a little bit of movement and rhythm and music and instrument that may happen at the same time. We look at those as meditations. Like we have one called the metal meditation, and
Okay.
that clinking is a little bit different than maybe sitting and going within. You're still going within, but it's like a little bit more somatic, a little bit more like embodied inside of how we are connecting. We have shower meditation, where you can meditate in the shower and transform, like I said, what you're doing, because we are living in 2025. So we are modern, we are busy, but we are trying to disassociate in so many spaces that we are in, that make it go from like, oh, I'm kind of spiritual, or I do this or whatever, to where you live the goddess lifestyle.
I say.
Integrating that into all the ways that you live.
I like you use the term goddess lifestyle. What do you see that as?
Well, I mean, it's different per the goddess, but basically it's just you living the life that you desire, and understanding that you create your universe. So everything that I'm experiencing is based on, how I want it to be. And when you're moving from that place and you're aligned with your purpose, you have good character. I mean, you can't really go wrong inside of however you want it to be. I know people say certain things all the time and they don't realize it. Like, well, things are just always hard for me. And I'm like, okay.
That's how you want it.
Or I have had friends that are like, man, we're not going to make it. Da, da, da. I'm like, that's you. But for me, I'm telling you, I am going to be good. I'm going to whatever. We go to the airport, they let me skip the line. You know what I'm saying? And that, the way that I think inside of my core beliefs, understanding, like I said, my commandments, the things that are guarantees inside of my life, like it's going to be different for me than it is for you, even though we might share some similar, gifts. And then, honoring our ancestors. Honoring our ancestors is probably one of the biggest ones. And, doing the work of healer as well, because goddess also means healer. So we are not simply just in this space for ourselves. We're also in for what we can do to support the collective and the consciousness. We talk about the witch, we talk about the goddess or the whatever, but I like to tell people, as we get into this new space of 2025 and spiritualism and everything where we're at, that when you call witch, or when you speak that, oh, the goddess, that I am a high priestess. I know it's not Christianity, but if I was a rabbi in the Jewish church, if I was a monk in the Buddhist temple, you know that it's not what you practice, but you respect it. And so when you see witch, priestess, goddess, and all that stuff, understand that I'm a part of the clergy.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to look at me as like adjust your view.
Mm-hmm. Look up.
You know what I'm saying? And so, we are bringing that oracle, that great mother, that black woman in the right position
That part.
back into the church, or back into the house, or back into the
Mm-hmm.
environment. And really taking church also to understand that it can be at home. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can have their own church at home. And that's when you are goddess, you are priestess, you are practitioner inside of your universe, and you do how you do with your family, with your spirits and your ancestors, and you allowing what you allow, and nothing else can penetrate. And
There
that's
you go.
lifestyle.
That's the God. That is an amazing lifestyle, and that is the path that
Yes.
we're on. Awaken
Yes.
that all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Rightful order. Now, you mentioned dance and music. How do you see other creative forms of play as things that can enhance the goddess lifestyle? It could be coloring, it could be paint, it could be clay. But what is the goddess play for the Sweet Love Sanctuary? For beauty, abundance. That's very Oshuni.
Yes, 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 yes. So goddess play. We definitely get outside. We get in the garden.
Hmm.
We get our hands dirty and put our feet in the mud type stuff. Like I said, the sunbathing is big. Being naked,
Hmm.
just being free, and um, de-sexualizing your body while also raving about how sexy your body is.
Hmm. Both.
Or different ways that we do that. This is a place where you can, if you like, oh, I just need to take my bra off, you could do that. And it doesn't
Hmm.
matter. It's not a thing. And that's man, woman, anything in between has the freedom to do that, in this space. And that's why Pussy Church is a clothing optional event. So you can really just de-arm and let
Hmm.
go, so you can rebuild yourself, and you can put that back on and go back out in the world. But here you get to be free and let it all hang out as much as
That's
you like,
beautiful.
in a safe
Yeah.
space. Mm-hmm.
How do you get people comfortable? Like, I love being naked. Like, that's my jam. But how do you get folks well, I guess if they are in alignment with you vibrationally, this is what they want. They've just been looking for you. Like, oh God,
Yeah,
finally.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. A lot of times that's what it is. Like, how do we do it? Is I go outside and take my clothes off and I lay down, and people are like, we could just,
We,
yes, I want to
we
be
can
naked
be
all the
naked.
time. You know what I'm saying? I find that the masculine are more apprehensive than
Mm-hmm.
the feminine. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they, people don't realize that there's a level of body conscious social
Mm-hmm.
constructs that's very deep, for the masculine or presenting people, and um, it can be even like a detriment to us in reverse that we don't realize. And so, getting them into a space where they are safe to be walking or hanging out with them, hang out.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they're
give,
feeling like it's not big enough, or it should look a
Mhm.
certain way, it should be this or that. Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
judgment
it's a
and maybe
lot
even
there.
bullying.
Yeah,
Bullying.
and women, we perpetuate some of that
We do.
patriarchy, and we don't realize it. And so we create a space where it's like you would have a fit if someone was scrutinizing how your breasts were hanging in
Right.
your face. So we give honor to the men in the same way that we want to be honored, and that's how we start to create balanced environment. And I learned that, I guess, lifestyle of nudity again from Goddess Amina, and going to events and participating in class and Tantra Fest and masturbation workshops and different things like that.
That's beautiful. So,
Mhm.
Pussy Church and masturbation workshop, so folks can get these techniques together without the without the appliances all the time. Like, you got to learn how to just you with you. That sounds
Mhm.
amazing. And we talked about this a little bit, but addressing how we heal energetic imbalances in our space, and that may arise from past traumas or negative experiences. How does this energy impact our mental and emotional well-being, and how can we harness the healing from that? So, what we just talked about, being nude in community, and then just from the trauma that is in our collective past. How do you address that?
Oh, so how I address it is through like our healing journeys, like with the Queen healing journey we're going on right now. It has like parts. The foundation is or rework, so working on your consciousness, working on really getting your mind, your soul, your spirit aligned for you. The second part is going to be the ancestry. And then the third part is going to be really doing that root canal work with
Mm.
specific healing topics when it has to do with like us today in this earthly realm. You know, we're going to talk about church hurt. We're going to talk about childhood trauma. We're going to talk about masculinity and femininity and money and society and all kind of aspects of things that like are going on with us. And like I said, we do that excavation to pull out like the root, to get to the
Mm.
because I know a lot of us have been doing a lot of work, but it's surface or it's scapegoatish. So you're continuing, like you only got a layer off, so you're still
Mhm. Gotta
perpetuating
go deeper.
where we're able to really go deep and see, dig it out, and then get the residue out of there inside of these spaces, because we are doing energetic work that is similar to, I guess, a therapy, so to speak, but I would say it's stronger because it's a lot of processing and practice versus just like
Just
talking
talk.
about what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we do talk about what happened, but we transmute that energy into our spiritual practice, and we
Mm.
focus and build our spiritual practice and spiritual work that we do individually off of what happened to us, about what's
Mhm.
going on, because we talk about epigenetics and just, we have some women who are scared to be sexy on camera or to show their bodies. And some of that, like, they could have never experienced anything in their life, but inside of their DNA, they were put on display and graded, and bodies, taken advantage of. And so
Mhm.
they actually come into this world guarded, and you call them social whatever or introverted or something else, when really that's not what's going on. Really, there's a
Right.
genetic remembering in the body, and that's where we have to do these work to create spaces where the body gets to relax, where the nervous system gets to relax as a brown skinned woman, in this world. So that's really a big part of it. We do different versions of that, getting to the root work, and other developmental programs, the goddess initiation and the goddess bath retreat, or if you just come and get a reading and all those things, it's all going to be that proportion of that version of, you know, what is creating this, so that we can choose to ride this cycle because it feels great and we love it, or switch it up and transmute this energy into something else.
That's so dope. Doing the work and getting to the root is like 10 years worth of therapy sitting on a couch. You can
Yes.
do it in a weekend.
Yes.
You can do it in 12 weeks. You can do it. And it's no really time because you're doing work that transcends timelines. But it's come to us to stop and actually do the work. That
Mhm.
is the thing of this generation right now. So that's amazing. How do you know when you've gotten to the root? And how does the person know? Because we do know that there are layers and layers and layers.
Mhm.
I just want to know what you thought about how you would know if you got there.
So, there's a few different ways to know, but honestly, it's a feeling. So when I'm taking someone through the goddess bath journey, I know that there's like a metric or a meter to it, but it's energetic. Like I am, like, we have this temporary umbilical cord, and you're talking through certain things, and I may be helping you process through that to understand what initiated that first space. Some people don't even know because they block out so many memories and things through the emotional strain. So that's where the plant medicine comes in, to take away the emotional stop signs and red lights, to where now you can open back up to say, the first time that I ever really had avoidance inside of where my people pleasing came from was in the ninth grade, when I tried to try out here and I was scared and I didn't go for it. And then we get to do the healing work from that space,
Mm-hmm.
versus I felt like this and I was alone here, and the victim and the martyr and
Mm-hmm.
all of that other stuff that
Mm-hmm.
that is a byproduct of, you are non-confrontational, but you have avoided standing up in the space for you to be appeased, for you to experience happiness, for you to be satisfied. You're choosing to take an L in life and it's not benefiting you. So then you get to make a decision when you look at that from an empowered place. So it does get into like a little bit of a systematic, like reverse engineering of your decision making process, but from an emotional standpoint, most of the times we are deconstructing the emotional processing and then offering a new perspective that you can choose to receive, or you can continue to live in, what is hurting you. And that
Right.
takes time, but sometimes when it's illuminated to you, it's like, oh, that's all it needs. There's a brain gasm that goes off, and then you're different.
Mm-hmm.
You
You're
know,
different.
we've done some work to go like in the past, and do that like past life regression type work. And when you have certain realizations about things in the past, it like a domino effect changes like
Mm-hmm.
your chemistry, because
You're different. You're new.
are recalibrating everything in a different way. So now your nervous system sits different, and now you're walking. Oh, now I'm confident.
Mm-hmm. I got it. I got
You
it.
know.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally awesome. So, what challenges have you faced on in this journey and working with people this way with the goddess path? And we talked about the culture, and then Christianity, and then forming the business. Like, what would you say are the largest challenges to doing this work, and then doing it from a teacher's perspective or high priestess perspective?
Yes, yes, yes. So the Christianity is a good part to pick up. I think it always comes up, but it never stops people.
Ashe.
Like, I think it's just a part of the first like level of, the David and Goliath thing. Am I gonna defeat this blockage that is there, but it's not real? And most people that I hear, they come in through it, and that, again, they've been looking for this and it makes sense in their body. So it's hard to ignore what feels good and what makes life sweet. And it's not like
Yeah.
we're saying fuck Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
because my great grandmother was an elder in the New Covenant Christian Church, and
Mm-hmm.
she was the prophetess. She was that black oracle that was the
Mm-hmm.
foundation of that church. So no matter what the name was on it, I knew the ashe of that thing came from her womb.
Your grandmama. Yeah.
Mhm.
Her womb.
So I believe in that energy. When that energy is in the right place in those institutions, go forth and prosper. They probably are positive and don't have some of the traumas and the different things that they perpetuate inside of like misogynistic and patriarchal and classist, you know, um like constructs that they put inside of our church that are hurting
Mm-hmm.
us, that are keeping us from connecting to the spirit. Because I don't care if you're African Orisha Bimbe, if you are at a Tambor for a Lukumi place, or if you're at the woman's retreat at the Kojic church, if you are doing the songs, you're singing, you're doing the dance, the drum is going a certain way, and the people are moving, the spirit is going to do what it's supposed to do in a formula sense. That's a formula from our ancestry and our spiritual technology of how to elevate and connect to the divine and heal in community. We can do it on our
Mm-hmm.
own too, but in community. And that is an ashe that we brought into the Christian church. Like, that wasn't in the Bible necessarily that they gave us when we was on them slave plantations, but we
Mm-hmm.
already was doing our other things. So we
We
made it
knew.
in there. And then we also figured out the ashe in this too, because we're going to make
Mm-hmm.
everything work. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. We can't say fuck Christianity, because there's a lot. I mean, my grandmother will support me through healing women from here till I don't know when inside of the
Yeah.
ashe that I may pull from the Bible, but that's not my only tool, and I'm not
Right.
limited. And I only use that tool because it's in my lineage, not because it is superior or not of. So you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one. I would say the other barrier really is just that not enough people know that this exists.
Mm-hmm.
Still not so many women, especially us black women, that are in spaces that we don't have to be in because we think that there's nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Just like for us to be able to continue to get this word out that this medicine exists, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody can get it. Everybody has been getting it for thousands of years. That's why the world is so great. But for us Black women who are running on low and empty, you know, um, we are here. You know, that's another barrier, is just access, you know, to the medicine. There's so many spaces that block us, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
by class, by ethnicity, by, you know, the socioeconomic constructs where someone never even heard of Orisha or Ifa in their life, you know. And I would say the other one is the misogyny and the patriarchy that could um, show itself in African traditional practice in the same way that it does in the Christian church. So
Mm.
I've seen a lot of people come from that space into this space, feel free, feel connected, and bring in those same mindsets and constructs and allow the same behavior that we allow the pastor, whatever, whatever, and the church and the deacon and all that bullshit. We see it here with the Bible allows and all that stuff. And so I feel like for me, the reason why I came into it when I did and how I went so fast was because there are powerful, sexy, abundant women that are goddesses, that have heavy pussy energy, all that stuff, and they need to heal. They need to be able to elevate. They need to be able to
Mm-hmm.
figure out their divine, process, and get the rituals, get the knowledge. And inside of some of these spaces, these women were not able to move how they needed to like be in their greatest glory. They were being manipulated, they were being
Mm-hmm.
abused, they
Mm-hmm.
were being, oh, you need to be my second wife, you need to be my this, knowing that this is a
Yeah.
powerful woman sitting in front of me, but I ain't gonna tell her. I'm gonna utilize her and keep her under my whatever and not give her everything that she needs. And so Oshun
That's
plucked
more
me.
the patriarchy. That's more the
Yeah,
same. Mm-hmm.
Oshun plucked me and was like, the sanctuary, this is a space where these women get to come and heal, like really be safe to be able to do
Mm-hmm.
it, and not think that this person that's giving me my prophecy is prophesizing for his highest desire, not my
Mm-hmm.
destiny. So I've had a very unique journey, but I've understood the assignment that like we needed a place to be able to do this, or this practice of Orisha and Ifa in the way that it needs to be done in the right way was going to be lost to a whole like legion of women who were, and men too, because it's men that have this same energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to be lost in the world that was just going to be utilizing our ashe, and we was going to be existing but not living.
Mm. Just like, sort of like the Matrix movie, like you're a battery
Mhm.
for this creation, but you're just on, docile, that kind of thing. But I'm so
Exactly.
happy that you are here creating this amazing place for the goddesses to come and renew and really tap into their birthright. It's really our
Exactly.
birthright. Yeah.
Hmm.
Who is your ideal I want to say customer, but client? What
Hmm.
did she look like?
What does she look like? My ideal client is probably a successful Black woman. Let's say she's about, let's say 40. And she is, even though she's successful, she's not satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
She may be a little bit overweight or overweight. She may be have certain projects or things that she has in the kitty, but she never launched on, and she could be working like a workhorse inside of some other man's corporation or business or what have you. Or she's doing something on her own, but she's isolated and she's on her own and she doesn't have any emotional support. And also, she has some spiritual giftings. She's had some things happen, but she's just not sure. She has not acknowledged that as anything real, and she don't want to get into nothing that she's not sure of and needs
Mm-hmm.
support and needs community. And she will stumble on this We Love Sanctuary. And also, she's a very sexual woman. She probably
Okay.
is a woman who, underneath it all, it can really, go down. And that is hidden and locked in and kept secret where only a few know or no one really knows, or it's been abused out of me, or something like that.
Put in
So
a box in the back of a closet.
but this woman, she has power and she knows it, but she's just not quite connected to it. And I would be that one to help bust that bubble, and then you connecting all the dots is easy.
That's beautiful. So, ladies listening, if this is you, you know what it's for you to do. You have resources right here before you to make that step forward. Now it's the time of the day where we're going to bust a couple moves and get out of here. Goddess Jessi, I've loved every minute of our conversation
Thank
together.
you. Thank you. Yeah,
Let's
it's been great.
make ourselves our space open. So
Okay.
we're just gonna do. Okay, come on, computer. Okay. So in honor of the Sweet Love Sanctuary.
Yes, I
Yes.
do. Mm-hmm.
Hey. Yes, neat.
Don't give me no old school now.
Yeah, we had to put that sweet love on real quick.
Yes.
Remember, ladies, sweet love is yours. Sweet love is yours. I'm your girl, Adina, the goddess of magical movement, co-founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. I'm here with the high priestess goddess, Jessi, of the Sweet Love Sanctuary of the world. She's located in Houston, Texas, but you can come to her from wherever you are because we have these technologies to connect. All of her contact information will be listed below. The book she mentioned will be listed below as well. We welcome you to join us in this journey back home to you. Sri Matre Namaha, Goddess Jessi, love you and I appreciate you.
Yes.
Ashe.
Mm-hmm.